Surah Teen. It has 8 verses. It is the 95th chapter of the Holy Quran. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wattini. 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 The first letter here is waw. Wawun bil fatha, or you can say wawun that has a fatha on it, or wawun fatha is pronounced as wa. The next letter is alif. This alif doesn't have anything attached to it, so it is a mud. The third letter here is lam. This lam doesn't have anything attached to it, meaning it is a silent lam. That means you would not pronounce it. Just as the case of the alif, you would not have to pronounce this alif and the lam. Then the fourth letter here is ta. Ta'un bil fatha. That is the ta that has a fatha is pronounced as ta. However, there is something like a small w on top. It is known as shadda. This shadda is an indicator that the ta'un there is double, is 2. The first one carries a sukun usually, and the second one carries the diacritic, which is obvious here. So in the pronunciation, since we are not pronouncing this alif and lam before the ta, it will be wati, wati. If you say what, that means there is a ta that has a sukun, right? Then t is a ta that has a kisra. Wati. Then we have the ya. This ya doesn't have anything attached to it, meaning it is a mud. It is there just for the sake of elongation, and this type is elongated for just 2 harakats. 2 harakats could be equivalent to 2 seconds. So, and that is why you say watini and not watini. Watini. Then after the ya, we have nun. Nun bil kisra, or nun that has a kisra, is pronounced as ni. And so to pronounce everything when you join it, it will be watini. Watini. Remember, alif and lam here are silent, so you would pronounce it as if they are not even there. Watini. Tini and not tini. Not watini. No matter how fast your recitation is, make sure you slow down and take note of this. And as time goes on, you wouldn't even have to slow down, because your brain would have been used to the fact that whenever you see something like this, this is how you pronounce it. So it is watini. Watini. Wazaytun. Wazaytun. Zaytun, olive, right? Alright, that's just by the way. Wazaytun. However, just as in the previous case, here also this alif and lam are silent in this case. You would later know why these things are silent in our Tajweed class, which we are working very hard to resume on it, inshallah. Soon we'll understand why all these are silent, but for now just know that they are silent in this case. So was zaytun, just as the case of ta in the previous square, in this square za is double, so was, then za, was za, right? The first one has a sukun, the second one has a fatha. Then we have ya'un, ya'un sukun. Anything that has a sukun cannot be pronounced on its own, because it cannot move until you join it with something that something, then it will make more sense. Just as in this case, you either join it with the letter before it or the letter after it. Now the letter before this ya is za, and that is why it says zai, 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 because the za has a fatha, zaun fatha, zaya unskun, zai. Then we have tun, taun domatu, watini was zaitun, watini was zaitun, watini was zaitun. Waturi, waturi. The second letter here is o, undoma, u. Then the third letter here is wa. This wa is just a mud because it doesn't have anything attached to it. You would elongate it for just 2 harakat. Duri. Sinin, sinin, and not sinina, except if in the case where you are joining this verse with the next verse. That is where you can say وَطُورِ سِينِينَ وَهَذَا الْبَلَدِ الْأَمِينَ. You've joined it with the next one, which we are even yet to treat. But in this case now, you would just say sinin. You would substitute the fatha on the noon with a sukun. And have you noticed something? Something have changed. We are no more using the English letters, as in here 2. This is 2. This is how 2 is written in Arabic, just as you would see in your Quran. We are becoming much more advanced, and so the switch now, instead of using the English one you are used to, we are substituting it with an Arabic. And in Arabic, the letters come after whatever is in the letter. In English, the 2 is supposed to be here right at the beginning. After writing 2, then we'll start what sinin. That is number 2. But in Arabic, the letter that comes after the verse is an indicator of that verse. So they don't write it at the beginning, but they write it at the end of the verse. So whenever you see a verse, a number that is after the verse, at the end of the verse, is the number that verse is. So this is 2 in Arabic. And take note of the ya that is here. The 2 yas are just muds because they don't have any diacritic attached to them. Sinin, and that is why you say sinin and not sinin. If there were not any mud there, we would just say sinin. But because of the mud 2 elongation, 2 harakats, you remember sinin. Waduri sinin. Waduri sinin. Waduri sinin. Wahadhal. Wahadhal. Take note of the ha. There is a big ha and not just ha. Don't say hadhal or hadhal. No, you would feel it in your throat. Inshallah, when we come to our huruf class in Tajweed, inshallah, you would see me, you would see the way my lips goes and everything. But for now, just know that it is wahadhal. Wahadhal. This mud up there is just a style of writing, and that is why they kept the alif mud on the fatha. So don't be confused about it, and don't be confused that in front of the there is alif, then immediately after it is another alif again before the lam. These 2 you cannot say because it is 2 now you are elongating it for 4 harakats because it is double. No, they are just there for elongation, fine. However, they are there for the style of writing. So in this place, in fact, they are silent. That is why you say wahadhal. You see, we didn't even take note of them, so don't even bother yourself about them. There is nothing like 4 harakats there. وهذا البلد balad in Arabic is city, right? That's just by the way. Baladil, ba'un fatha ba, lam fatha la, dal kisra di. Then we have alif. That alif is a mad, right? Then we have the lam. Don't worry, I'll break down this whole lam alif hamza thing for you immediately after this, before moving forward. So but for now it is baladil. You would not pronounce the alif there, just baladil. And if you note, the hamza is not in this box, and it is deliberate. It's not supposed to be here. It's just the lam we are using. We are not using the hamza, and that is why I didn't put it in here. Alright, now in the breakdown of this whole construct of lam, alif, hamza, whatever. This alif stands on its own. Then after the alif, we have a lam, which has a sukun in this case. After the lam, we have an alif hamza, which has a fatha. However, in this place, wherever you see it like this, the combination, this alif always stands on its own, but this lam and then the next alif hamza, they always join it right this, which is very beautiful and appealing to the eyes. But just know that it could be pronounced as a separate entity, just as we have divided it in the process of pronouncing it. And that is why we say baladil, and you did not hear me join in the alif hamza after the lam, because this alif hamza is to the next box, which is amin, and it's not joined with that one. It's just 2 letters that have been joined together and beautifully written, and there might be other reasons. If you know other reasons why they do this, I don't know, but if you know, you can tell us in the comments, inshallah, and we'll be very grateful because we've learned something new. But that's just it. And honestly, it's one of the most beautiful part of Arabic writing to my eyes. So practically, as you can see, just as we divided it and used the lam for the last square before the breakdown, baladil, in this part we are using only the alif hamza, which is amin, and the lam doesn't have anything to do with it. Amin. And of course, you know it, we are not saying amini because we aren't continuing it. Assuming we are continuing to the next verse, then we would put the kisra there, but because we are stopping here, we are substituting it with a sukun, so amin instead of amini. And you wouldn't say amin, not just amin, وهذا البلد الأمين. No, take note of your recitation, one after the other. Amin, because of the mud. Yeah. وهذا البلد الأمين. وهذا البلد الأمين. وهذا البلد الأمين. لقد. In writing, just as you can see here, it's just laqad, right? It's laqad. Lam fatala, qafun fataqa, laqa, dalun skun is laqad, right? That is how it is supposed to be pronounced. But because dalun is one of the 5 huruf al-qalqalas, and there is a rule that this letters would have to follow because they are huruf al-qalqala. That is, whenever they come with a sukun, you would make the qalqala, you would put in the rule there, and that is why you make the qalqala there. Laqad, there is a video on that. Khalaqanal, khaun, khalaqanal, not halaqanal, khalaqanal, and not even khalaqnal. as it is written here. This qaf, you wouldn't tie it up as the rule of school requires, but you would make a qalqala there, because qaf, just as dal in the previous square, is also one of the 5 huruf al-qalqalas, the 5 letters of qalqala, and so you would make the qalqala. Making qalqala just means, so you would pronounce it in such a way that there is no apparent diacritic attached to it. You are not pronouncing it as fatha, neither is it as kisra or dhamma or fatatain, kisratain or anything, but just in between, something, somehow. Khalaqanal, 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 khalaqanal. Kha'un fatha, kha. This is how kha it is. This is how kha is written whenever it comes at the beginning of a word, and that is why you see the difference between it written here at the beginning of this word and as it is written here in the Arabic alphabets. Then we have lam, lam fatha, la. Lam fatha is pronounced as la. Assuming it has a kisra, it will be pronounced as li. If it has a dhamma, it will be pronounced as lu. But in this case, it is la. Khalaqanal insana, insana. I hope you're taking note of this divide in the lam alif. Just as in the first case, this second case also, the lam belongs to the previous square and this alif hamza belongs to this one, insana. And take note of this, that there is a noon sakina. That is a noon that doesn't have a shadda or that doesn't have any diacritic attached to it, or it is a noon that has a sukun. And the rule of this noon, whenever you come across it, is to make a gunna. Gunna means you should just wait a bit there before you move forward to the next letter, which the next letter in this case is sin. So before you move to sin from this noon, you will have to wait there a bit, and that is why you say insana and not just insana. Not insana, but insana. Fi fa'un kisra, fi. Assuming it's fa'un fatha, it will be fa, but in this place it is fi. Then we have ya. Ya that doesn't have anything attached to it is a mud, and it is there for elongation, and that is why you say fi and not just fi. Not just fi, but fi. So it will be insana fi, then ahkamil. Not insana fi ahkamil. No. If you say fi ahkamil, no matter how fast your recitation is wrong, because you need to pay attention to these details, and it makes your recitation much more beautiful. Ahsani, ahsani, ahsani. Alif hamza fatha a, ha'un kisra, ha'un kisra, which cannot be pronounced alone. So if we are joining it with the alif hamza fatha, it will be ah. Then sa, sa'un fatha, which is pronounced as sa, so it will be ahsa, ahsa, ahsa. Then we have nunun kisra, which is pronounced as ni, so it will be ahsani, ahsani. Taqawim, taqawim. You remember qaf is a huruf al-qalqala, and that is why you say taqawim. You made the qalqala there and not just taqwim. It's very easy for me to say taqwim, but because of the rule of huruf al-qalqala, you have to make the qalqala taqawim, and at the end there, mimun, we ain't saying taqawimin, despite the fact that it is written as mim kisratain, because we are stopping there. So it is taqawim, we are substituting it with a sukun, taqawim, and not taqawimin, except if we are pronouncing it if you are joining it with the next verse. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. If you notice this fi, there is a mud that is not showing here, which is elongated for more than 2 harakats. So we have a video on mud if you can check it out also. Thumma, thumma, not summa is not sword, not summa is not seen, but thumma, un alif bata, thumma, and you would not say thumma because the meme is double. The invisible first meme has a sukun, then the second one has a fatha, and so if you are pronouncing it thum, that is you've pronounced the first one right, then ma, thumma, thumma, tha'un dhamma, thu, tha'un fatha is tha, tha'un kisra is fi, tha'un dhamma thu, thumma. رددناه رددناه ra, not radadnahu. Very easy for me as a Hausa speaker to say radadnahu, but radadnahu because ra is a thick letter. Asfala, 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 sa'un skun, asfala. Safilin, safilin. If this mud isn't there, we would just say safilin, safilin. But because this mud is here, it is elongated for 2 harakat, safilin. ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين. ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين. ثم رددناه أسفل سافلين. إلا الذين, not zina but dhina, dhalun, dhina, and not zina, not za. إلا الذين, don't be confused because of this إلا الذين. It is just 4 lam fathas that have been arranged to follow each other. Amanu, amanu, amanu. The wound there and fatha are just for elongation. Amanu. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Sorry, this has to even be a rectangle and not just a square. It is very long, but I didn't want to break it so that you would understand it better, and that is why I kept all this together in one place. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. وَعَمِلُوا الصالحات. By now you know the sudden is double. Wa'amilus, you've pronounced the first one with the sukun, and then salihati, the second one with the fatha. Wawun is the first letter there. Bil fatha is pronounced as wa. Then ainun is not wa'amilu solihat. You are not pronouncing it as alif hamza or alif or hamza. No, you are pronouncing it as ain. Ain, wa'amilus, and not wa'amilus. Wa'amilus solihati. Falahum, falahum, falahum. The ha there is the big ha and not falahum. But falahum, ajirun, ajirun is written ajrun, right? Ajrun. The rule of sukun says you just tie it up immediately. Whatever later is affixed with a sukun, you are just to tie it up immediately and move on. But because jimun is a huruf al-qalqala, so far from the beginning of our lessons, we have brought out 3 huruf al-qalqalas. Dalun, qafun, and noun jimun. So you make the qalqala, and that is why you say ajirun, ajirun. غير, غير. This is goyinun, fatha, go. It is written whenever it comes at the beginning of a word like this, and that is why you see it appearing differently as it is here in the Arabic alphabets. Mamnoon, mamnoon, mamnoon. Mimun, fatha, ma. Then the second letter again is mimun, but this mim has a sukun, and because it is a sukun, it cannot be pronounced on its own, so we are joining it with the first one, mum, and that is why we say mum. Then we have nunun bidamma, nu. The one there is for elongation, noon, and that is why we say mamnoon and not mamnoon. Mamnoon. Then of course the kisratain there would be substituted with the sukun, and that is why you say noon and not noonin. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون. إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون. فما يكذبك Ya'un Dhamma is pronounced as you. Then we have kafun fatha, ka, yuka. Then we have dhalun fatha is the, but in this case it is two, yukadh, then the, yukadhi, because of the shadda it means it is double the. Then ba'un dhamma bu, yukadhibu. Then kafun fatha, ka, yukadhibuka. Ba'du, not ba'du, but ba'du, ayn. It is ayn. After ba'un fatha ba, this thing you can see here is ayn, is the same, just that whenever it is written at the middle of a word, it comes like this. So don't be confused. Ba'du, and because it is not a huruf al-qalqala, it is nothing special, we are tying it up immediately just as required by the rule of sukun. Ba'du, bidin. On top of the dalun is a shadda, which is this small w here. Then under it immediately there is a kisra. Sometimes you would find this kisra under the dal itself, then the shadda would be there. So it's just the style of writing, don't be confused, it's the same thing. فما يكذبك بعد بالدين. فما يكذبك بعد بالدين. فما يكذبك بعد بالدين. Alright, and I don't want you to be confused. This calf and this calf are the same. This is how it is written when it comes at the middle of a word, and this at the ending. Alaysa Allahu. Alaysa Allahu. If you notice, I am thickening the word Allah. I am not saying Allah, despite the fact that I can say it, Allah, Alaysa Allahu. But the right way to say it is Alaysa Allahu. You make it thick, and the determiner here is the diacritic attached to sin, which is the immediate word before the word Allah. You can watch our video on it because of time. Bi ahkamil, bi ahkamil, bi ahkamil. حاكمين حاكمين حاكمين. This is ha, and not the big ha, but ha. Alif bata tha jim ha, ha, kha, ha. That ha. أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. Alright, just as I've said in verse 2, this is number 8. And we would continue with it like this, inshallah, so that you would become much more familiar with the Arabic letters. So this is number 8, and it is written at the end of the verse. Unlike in English, this number 8 would have been written at the beginning, then the verse, but in Arabic, it is always the verse before the number of it. So don't be confused about it.